A trick. This is with my son and my wife. She's number one. She doesn't know she's part of the trick yet. She is going to be part of the trick. All right, everybody. Hold on a second, because this joke starts off with a zucchini in the pants. As we
oh, come on.
Come over here and take my zucchini, please. Seriously, we gotta take the zucchini.
She already took his zucchini.
Oh.
Okay. It's just a straight up magic trick, people. It's a straight up magic trick where this is a regular deck of cards, as you can all see, right? A regular deck. Yeah, I'm not even good enough to like shuffle properly. Kids gotta chill the heck out. And what we've got to do is we've got to let Ethan pick any random card. No, you can't block. You can't block.
Move to the side. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you can't block. Pick any random card. All right. Show everyone the card, please. Show everyone the card.
Wait, I didn't see it.
It's a. Okay. Fold it up and stick it in your thing right there. Fold it up hard. Throw it away now. The cards are an old deck. That's why I deliberately did with the card. Pops is complaining that we just ruined the deck of cards. It's only been in the house. By the way, you know what? Spoiler alert. The deck of cards is already gone. Now, by the way, bringing it back to the zucchini in my wife's hand right now. Let me just go over here. Oh, Marion, that's a lovely zucchini. Would you like to cut that zucchini open?
No way.
Hold on a second. I gotta rub it. I gotta rub the zucchini.
Oh, come on.
Rub it. Okay,
It's a family channel. It's not impossible.
Yeah, just cut. Oh, you feel something in there. Oh my goodness. Oh, open it. Oh. How did this happen?
Open it.
Oh, what's this, Marion? What is this? No, it's not. Well, you got to pull harder than that on the zucchini. Come on. You've done this before, Marion. I can tell you that.
It's so weird.
All right.
It's a weird trick.
Pull up the freaking card. Get your hand off it. All right.
What the?
Oh, I wonder.
Guys, look.
Just what card might that be?
It's David Copperfield, people.
No way. And that is the magic trick. Boom.
Ethan, what's in your pocket?
Nothing's in his pocket. Get the hell out of here. Get this kid out of here.
Merry Christmas, people. Happy New Year. Before I get too far into this, because I literally got home the second you got the notification, I got home. So I plugged in my mic. Do I look any different? I feel almost naked and out of practice. Let me see here. Let me see. Viva, it might be sending you a microscope. Okay. How cool. I'll tell everybody how I did that joke. That trick. Let me just make sure that I can hear my voice. I'm going to go over to vivabarneslaw.newyorlocals.com. Happy New Year, says Giacondo. Happy New Year, Giacondo. Happy New Year, everybody. Look, it may or may not be a healthy addiction. I love doing live streams. I have had so many stories that I've wanted to talk about. While you want to come say hi? My wife, she's got a zucchini. She's not going. We got the dogs back from the kennel. I wanted to do streams, but the internet. Look, I'm on AT&T when we go up north, so my cell sucks. But the internet connection, sucky. It's just terrible. Great trick, Viva. Look, it's an oldie but a goodie trick, and nobody ever suspects that the kid is in on the trick, but the kid was sort of in on the trick, but he didn't really know that he was in on the trick. But kids are easy to manipulate in terms of getting them to pick certain cards. You know, if you just stick out the card a little bit more than all the other cards and the kid picks it, I'll ruin the trick. There were 2 4 of hearts. We had an old deck of cards up in the country. It had like 38 cards in it. So despite my father's dismay for a second where he thought we ruined a normal deck of cards, we had a 38 card deck, and then there was another card deck. For whatever the reason, we had 2 cards. And I said, okay, well, which cards overlap? There were 4 of hearts. Okay, took the 4 of hearts, glued it to the back of the other deck, and that became the trick 4 of hearts. And then the other 4 of hearts from the native deck, I stuck in a zucchini right under the top of the zucchini so nobody could even see the hole in which I stuck the 4 of hearts into the zucchini. Got the kid to pick the right card. And then cut it open in the zucchini. And that's how the magic was made, people. And that's how the babies got started. And now Bill Brown is posting a picture of Templeton, the most beautiful pig on earth. Happy New Year's, everybody. It is good to be home. Get Starlink, says David Bowie 250. Yeah, the Starlink is going to be what I have to get Starlink, period. There's a number of things that I have to do, like Jablinski Games. We're going to get there. I need to get a new chair. Still haven't gotten the new chair. I need to get Starlink. There was something else that I need to get. A better camera. There was something else that I had to get. But check this out, guys. Look at Winston. Oh, Winston was at a kennel, and he smells so good. It's impossible to say how good he smells because they give you a mandatory. I didn't even say hi yet, baby. They give you a mandatory shower, or they make your dog, whether or not it's just an easy way to get people who are boarding their dogs to spend money on a shower. It's good nonetheless. And the place is great. And Pudge, come here. Pudge. I'm going to leave her there. And that's it. So I got the dogs. They were away. Holy crab apples, people. It's pricey, Sophia Agape. It is. I'm not complaining because it's a good problem to have. Hold on. But it's a good problem to have. It's like the old Irish proverb. If you have a leaky roof, you should be thankful that you have a roof. If you've got a paralyzed dog that costs you too much to board when you go back to Canada, you should be happy that you have a dog and that you can do it. Holy hell, people. What the stories that I wanted to cover, by the way, everyone get questions in. We'll do like a Q&A, and we'll do not a Q&A, but an AMA. We're going to have this is the stream I wanted to do on New Year's Day, but we were also in a relatively small confinement with 22 people. And that's not even the entire family and immediate family. Because there was one sibling who was not in the closed proximity in the confines with the rest of us. But between parents, children, spouses, and grandchildren, 20 some odd people, and it was amazing. And we had an amazing New Year's Eve. That was what you witnessed there was the intro. What the hell am I talking about? Was the talent show that we did. And we did a family talent show, and it was hilarious. My daughter shot and edited a video, which made a lot of fun of my mother, her grandmother. Hilarious. There was dance stuff. There were my brother, Lion Advocacy. You know him very well from the interwebs. And if you don't, he did stand up, and it was hilarious. His best joke from the stand up, where he was making fun of how the French name their desserts. And he's putting on a French accent, and he says, "What do we call this dessert?" And then the guy says, "Well, there's like 1,000 leaves on one on top of each other. We'll just call it millefeuille." Millefeuille in French means 1,000 layers, 1,000 leaves, really, or 1,000 pages. And so that was it. Mr. Mike says, they let Viva back in the States during a terror crisis. So look, it's not a joke. It's a joke in that it's freaking tragic. And we reign in the new year with a terror attack. When we're told, by the way, like, not to get political, we're going to go right from the good, beautiful part of the holidays into horrible tragedy. Actually, before we even get there, I'm going to raise a toast of the martini to everybody and say a healthy, happy New Year. Health and happiness and wealth shall follow. Cheers. And this is not an ad, and there's no but to that. If you've never tasted this gin, Madison Park, it comes from Montreal, Quebec. Check it out. Montreal, Quebec. It's not super expensive. It was $42 Canadian. This one is the breakfast gin. I don't know who drinks gin for breakfast, but if you're doing that, you might want to reassess. But it tastes like Earl Grey tea. And it's among the most unique, beautiful gins out there. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. And I hope everyone had a good one. And now we actually have to get into the shit of the world, which is what went down in New Orleans, simultaneously with what occurred in Las Vegas, outside a Trump hotel with a Tesla truck. Tesla truck catches fire. I'm putting that in there as the search terms because it's almost a sick joke. Let me bring this up. If you guys, I presume we are all mildly familiar with what's been going on in the news these days. So I'm not talking to a new crowd or people that are politically, legally, and news-wise unaware, there was a terrorist attack in New Orleans, and I've got actually very interesting info that I'm going to share, which comes from people who DM me and don't always necessarily want to be revealed. And if they don't, it's not my purpose to do that. But I've got more information than I could possibly amass on my own because of the network that we have. But here, check this out. This was in Vegas. Is there no audio to this? I guess there's no audio on this one. This is a Tesla Cybertruck in flames. But that was not the video that I wanted to get. What I wanted to get for the video was the one where you could hear fireworks going off. Tesla Vegas fire. Let's just get that one. From the inside of the Trump Hotel. This is the video that I was looking for. From DC Drano, people. Here, hold on. Bear with me. I didn't have time to get all of my links in order before we got started here because I ran into the house, squoze a dog, and then set up this live stream. Here, check this out. The news, you don't know what news is true, what news is not, what the real story is. This was a video that went viral on January 1st. And the news said, initially, a Tesla Cybertruck is on fire in front of the Trump Hotel in Vegas. Could be a coincidence, but could also be a message. Lots of people on the left and in the deep state are angry about Trump and Elon teaming up to save America. And this... That's clearly an explosion. I thought that was a firework going off the first time I heard it, which it is, but there's more to the story. I mean, there's clearly they sound like screaming banshees type fireworks. And a word of advice. If anybody has ever seen fertilizer explosions, there is really no safe distance that is safe enough from these types of fires/explosions. And not to be the Debbie Downer, but if you see something like this, you're best off, backing the F up more than you actually think you need to be backed up. Because if you've ever watched those explosions, fertilizer explosions, the one in Shenzhen, China, I mean, it could be a fire and it can explode beyond whatever radius you think is even feasible under the circumstances. And that was too close. And I would not have been, I don't know, I say I wouldn't have been recording it, but maybe I would have. Okay. That occurred on the same day that there was a terror attack, somebody driving a vehicle through Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And the man is burning up in that truck, says Phyllis Douin. This is also, well, let me, I can bring this up. This is why at first, when the news breaks and when two things happen, people try to, tend to connect the dots. It's human nature. It's how the brain works. It's how humans survive. You establish rules, maybe sometimes where there's no actual connection of rules. A red spider bites you and causes an infection. You will think all red spiders bite and cause infections. So that occurred at the same time as the New Orleans thing. And I'm thinking, okay, it sounded like fireworks were going off in the truck. Maybe someone just had, not leftovers, but they were going to have a fireworks show. It's the New Year's Eve, and the truck got, accidentally set on fire in front of a Trump hotel. It turns out that the individual in that car, who allegedly by that point already taken his own life, that this was something of an attack. The same day that there was this attack in New Orleans. And then it turns out, Viva, not the same time, 5 hours later, says Uzel. Well, I mean, that's for what we're discussing right now. I mean, that's sufficiently the same time. I mean, we're talking like the same 24-hour period. That was actually not someone's fireworks accidentally going off. When you saw the aerial picture of that Tesla truck afterwards, you see canisters of gas in there, which clearly indicates that this was something planned and coordinated, or at least deliberate, malicious, not fireworks accidentally going off. The perpetrator, allegedly a man who had military experience from Fort Bragg, the same place where the New Orleans terrorist came from, and had rented a Tesla Cybertruck, via this app called Turo, which I had never heard of until this incident. I thought they rented their car at Turo because I thought it was like a location for rentals. And I was like, okay, well, that's a done deal. Lucky I didn't, base anything on that erroneous understanding. Turo is a vehicle rental application on cellular devices and mobile phones. So that happened. And what the hell is going on in the world? Fort Bragg. Oh, yeah, another Trump shooter came out of Fort Bragg. Yeah, Fort Bragg has, for anyone who, I do recall that, has something of, not an illustrious, I'm not even trying to be sarcastic. There, in terms of connecting trauma with veterans and what, you know, there, it's not a statistical anomaly as far as I'm concerned. You're dealing with a segment of the population who experience trauma via their service. And there's only so many places where training occurs. And so to draw that connection of tragedy that ensues and the way that tragedy materializes itself, you know, I can understand that connection. The Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, is the armpit of the Army. This is not my statement. This is coming from our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community, which is above average, and we have a number of veterans there. I know nothing of the quality of the locations. I would just have one, you know, my not connecting dots that don't necessarily connect. My connection would be when it comes to veterans who train, serve, come back to civilian society, and then don't necessarily get the services that they not only need but deserve from the government that they serve, from the people that they serve. And you know what the suicide rate, self-harm rate, psychological trauma rate is from veterans who then come back and don't get the services that they need from the government because it's too busy shipping off money to Ukraine. The fact that veterans snap and that materializes in various ways, that's not the smoking gun of a connection where I think like there's some radicalization program going on at Fort Bragg. But then again, I don't know anything about these types of things beyond what I've learned because I'm Canadian and never served a day in my life of military service. So the Vegas thing happens. It was after what happened in New Orleans. And then the question becomes, as Nick Sortor, who is amazing, and you should all follow him. If you don't, you know who he is because he's been on the channel. Nick Sortor had tweeted out, Justin was when this came in, which was January 2nd, this morning, 10:35. Nick is trustworthy and reliable. And people will not make mistakes, but information changes over time. Nick Sortor is responsible, diligent, and trustworthy. And there's really actually not much more you can ask from someone who you decide to follow on the social media interwebs. Tweeted out this morning, Justin, law enforcement sources have confirmed Matt Livelsberger, 37, of Colorado Springs, was the Trump Vegas Cybertruck bomber, per News Nation. Livelsberger, who killed himself in the blast, was still an active duty Green Beret operations sergeant who was on leave from Germany, where he was serving with the 10th SFG, per multiple U.S. officials. Let me just see here. SFG, military acronym. And that stands for Special Forces Group. Sorry, guys, I have to check things. Authorities are continuing to investigate a link between the Livelsberger and the New Orleans attacker, as they both served at the same base, Fort Bragg, and both rented EVs from Turo. This is getting weirder by the hour. Now, there are certain things which I noticed that were just a little bizarre. And I noticed it immediately after it happened, that the truck that was rented by the terrorist, you can call him what he is, in New Orleans, was an EV Ford pickup truck, which is a very bizarre choice of vehicles to choose to rent if your purpose is then to commit an act of terror with it. It's I mean, there could be other explanations, but the fact that both of these individuals who served at Fort Bragg or were trained at Fort Bragg, who committed acts of violence, one didn't kill anybody but the perpetrator, and that's assuming that he's guilty. There could be other explanations here. I just watched the movie Carry On, and I've got the movie Carry On is about a mastermind, Bateman in real life is his name, who coerces government officials or airline surveillance security checker guys to do certain things that are illegal through threat and coercion. So everything is on the table in terms of both these scenarios, either of these scenarios, neither of these scenarios. But the Livelsberger, the guy who took his own life, to carry out a senseless act of nothing because nothing happened except destroying that truck. And Elon Musk took to Twitter to say that he picked the wrong truck to do this with because the truck actually contained the fire, projected it upwards, and no window was even broken at the Trump Tower. It's not inconceivable that there's something of a carry-on type coercion here, or mental break, or whatever. The fact that they both chose electric vehicles and electric SUVs to do this is bizarre. The fact that they both trained or were trained at Fort Bragg is bizarre. The fact that they both used the app, I mean, it's bizarre to me, but I've never heard of this app before today. The fact that it occurred within 5 hours, whatever, within the same day, is bizarre. And anybody who says that that's not bizarre is covering their eyes. All that to say, nonetheless, that's what we know as of now about the Vegas guy. Livelsberger married, apparently had a 6-month-old child, and it's very bizarre. Then we get to New Orleans. And before we get to New Orleans, we'll bring these up and we'll answer some questions here. Stupid stream didn't start on its own, had to refresh. Is that normal? JB80's music. John B80's music. Hey, look, glitches happen. It's but good to see you, John. I know that you have a channel where you make music. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think I got some of your music. I think you said, if you're the same person, I think I got some music and it's great. Is it a coincidence that these U.S. Army veterans are involved in January terror? Well, I think you meant terror incidents. If you haven't seen the movie, Carry On was not a great movie, but it was engaging. The Patrick Bateman, I think that's his name. There's no movie that he's been in that I do not want to watch reflexively. If you haven't seen the movie Bad Words, watch it. It's fantastic. It is definitely a coincidence, and at some point in time, there are no coincidences anymore. Odin of the North says, no effing way Vegas Cybertruck bomber did that. He was killed and placed in car. Special operator would know how to build a proper vehicle bomb, Timothy McVeigh style. Voice sounds decent off mute, by the way. Voice sounds decent off mute, by the way. Okay, I'm not sure what that last part means. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to shut my mouth now. The Vegas thing is very suspicious. And if I actually may, this was a public tweet. Let me get it, if you give me a second. I just have to make sure not to. An individual named Matt Tardillo. And the tweet started off with, it had a word that says, okay, here, hold on a second. Let me, my goodness. Well, hold on. Let me bring this up. Let me bring up this whole thing and just make sure not to get into DMs. Not that I have anything in here, but okay, I'm going to go to an account of an individual who had some very interesting tweets on the subject here. Twitter. Bada bing, bada boom. And now we can go here. Okay, good. Matt Tardillo. I have to do this from my actual account. Okay, Matt Tardillo. This was the tweet that I saw earlier today. Wait before assuming guilt. Matthew Livelsberger is a suspect in the Tesla Vegas bombing at the Trump Hotel. Twice last month, someone pretending to be a Green Beret from my former Operation Detachment Alphas, ODA's, sister team contacted me. So someone pretending to be a Green Beret contacted me and showed extensive knowledge of personal information about the Green Beret they claim to be, who is still on active duty. I presume that means Livelsberger. So I presume that this means, and assuming that this guy is legit and he seems to be podcast host, keynote speaker, veteran, father, husband. He seems to be legit. Followed by some mutual followers, which it's not a troll bot engagement account. He's saying someone pretending to be a Green Beret contacted me with extensive knowledge and personal information about a Green Beret they claim to be at. I presume that means the guy who is no longer alive now. The person who contacted me claimed to be suicidal, likely in an attempt to get me to SWAT his house. I don't know why he put his in quotes, with either police or Green Berets to make sure he was okay. This would have given away his location if it was not already known. Livelsberger served on the same ODA and held the same position as the person who was impersonated. A lot is not adding up in Vegas. It's freaking wild. Then this was from 1 hour ago. LVP, Las Vegas Police Department for Vegas bombing. Matthew Livelsberger, who would have needed to leave Colorado Springs no later than noon, December 31st, make all the necessary stops and avoid sleeping to arrive Las Vegas by 7:35 in the morning. Key calculations, 14 hours. Charging time, 6.5 hours. Total time, 20 hours. Zone adjusted, 1 hour behind, giving a total window of 19.5 hours. Stops for charging and fireworks. Fireworks stands are within 10 minutes of the Gallup, New Mexico supercharging station. Charging and driving details, December 30th. Well, okay, they're going to have all this on the Tesla truck. Monument to Trinidad. Trinidad, Colorado to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, New Mexico to Albuquerque. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay, I'm just going to read this. Holbrook to Flagstaff, Arizona. Flagstaff to Kinsman. Kinsman to Las Vegas. Also, somewhere on the line, he stopped and purchased a buttload of fireworks, a Desert Eagle 50, and another pistol. Right. Oh, yeah. And the Coleman camping fuel and the racing fuel. Also, they said it made it sound like he had some tannerites as well in there. So it's all very, 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 very suspicious. We got a new subscriber, John Allen, in the house. Welcome to the Above Average Locals community. We're going to go from the bottom up now before we get into New Orleans. I have a Ford Lightning at work. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and weighs like 8,000 pounds. It's a perfect truck. You know what, Harry Totu? I didn't even that hadn't occurred to me until you mentioned it. And not to even not anybody. Bad people don't need ideas and they don't want for creativity. Now that you mention it, the place where we got our Bronco from, when I went to have the tires rotated, because you have to have tires rotated apparently, especially on a heavy Bronco, they had a Hummer electric, and the guy sounded like 10,000 horsepower. That makes sense? No, 1,000 horsepower, 10,000 pounds. 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. I had not ever thought of that, and now you've actually made the world a darker place for me. Sammy says, hey, Viva, have you reached out to Sarah Adams at TP Sarah at large? The amount of intel about terrorist entanglements. If you haven't, take some time to watch either of her Sean Ryan I saw, now that you mentioned it, I've seen a clip, which I presume was her. She's a blonde lady. Happy Merry Christmas and welcome here. Welcome home. Thank you very much. But the funny thing is, it feels like home. That's what... is depressing, but also very much encouraging. How will congressmen and media blame the attacks on President-elect Trump? Well, no. What's truly astonishing about it, and now that I'm thinking out loud, and if I'm trying to connect some dots to say the Vegas thing sounds very, very bizarre, in a world where the government and the FBI and frickin' Mayorkas and all those jackasses, Garland, are trying to tell us that white supremacy, white nationalist homegrown terrorists are the greatest threat to America. And then you have Shamsuddin Jabbar. We're going to get into his name because I actually got an interesting comment on one of the videos. Does that, and then 5 hours later you have the white military dude blowing up his truck and killing nobody but himself. I can see two dots that people would connect in there, because those are thoughts that I'm having myself as I talk out loud. How are they blaming it on President-elect Trump? Well, how are they going to blame it on white nationalism? I mean, they could try to pull the bullshit German terrorist attack, a Saudi Shia Muslim who claims to be an atheist, claims to be an AFD supporter, claims to be an Elon Musk fan, and they literally blame a Saudi Shia Muslim running his truck into Christian Christmas goers. They blame that on far-right nationalism in Germany and Elon Musk. So there's no depth of depravity, of intellectual stupidity and dishonesty to which they will not stoop to promote their lies of narratives. But it is very interesting that 5 hours after a bona fide terror attack on home soil, which was definitely not white nationalists unless they want to try to take that bullshit route, you have this. If you want to connect those dots, or, is it a coincidence that these U.S. Army veterans are involved in the... Okay, we got that over there. Sorry, I just want to make sure. So, bring it over to New Orleans, a story which makes effing no sense. And not just effing no sense by the FBI's own statements on the issue. Absolutely no sense made of this. The FBI is basically pulling, in the context of the New Orleans terror attack, they're pulling on Anthony Fauci in the wake of COVID. Say A and not A at 2 points in time. You can never be wrong. And you can always demonize the people who repeat what they said that turns out not to be true. We know what happened in New Orleans right now. The man's name is, I'm going to screw up his name, and I'm not trying to do it to be funny or Shamsuddin Jabbar is the name of the man. Military, a veteran, 10 years as a human resources specialist abroad. We know it's Afghanistan, which is probably where he got radicalized. Twice divorced, financially ruined because of the divorces, repeating the words of my former boss, you want to stay rich, don't get divorced. And that doesn't mean rich. It just means getting divorced is a financially consuming, emotionally draining, very difficult process, even when it goes well. This man's twice divorced, in financial ruins. I screen recorded the video of his real estate investment pitch because he became a broker at one point in Houston. Apparently, it's a very tough market. And this is the guy. Inside terrorist Shamsuddin Jabbar's squalid home where sheep and goats roam his yard after his financial ruin. Reading from the New York Post, so nobody call me racist or whatever. The goats and the sheep, I mean, it's a very interesting thing. When ordinarily people having chickens and livestock is not a weird thing. But Houston, terrorist who killed 15 people when he plowed his truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans was an American-born military veteran living in a rundown trailer park where he kept sheep and goats in the yard just blocks from the local mosque. Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42, from Houston, had an ISIS flag trapped to the rented Ford F-150 Lightning EV truck he used to carry out the act of premeditated terror on New Year's Day. Gets into it. It goes, where's the read the more part? Shamsuddin Jabbar was a U.S.-born military veteran. Yada, yada, yada. He served in the army for more than a decade, deployed to Afghanistan before he carried out the ISIS-inspired attack on Wednesday. Working as an IT specialist. He was stationed in Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010. Yada, yada, yada. We got some pictures there. Jabbar served active duty from March 2007 to January 2015. He was a reservist 2015 to the present. He left the service at the rank of staff sergeant, according to the Army. Had his video, which I don't need to play it, but it talks about being a real estate broker. Trust him. He'll dot the I's, cross the T's. Native Texan, spent 10 years telling the meaning of great service. Geese, chicken, sheep roamed freely. What I wanted to highlight from this, here we go. One of the neighbors told the Post she spoke only Urdu, Pakistan's national language. The neighborhood is also within walking distance of the local mosque, Masjid Bilal, where no one answered the telephone on Wednesday. Law enforcement told the Post that they found videos Jabbar made where he referenced the Quran, Islam's holy text. Okay, that's the video. He traveled to Egypt for 10 days last year. By mid-afternoon, the feds swooped in, kicking the Post and other journalists out. It's an amazing thing, by the way, that journalists, just understand a few of the things that we read there, journalists are more responsive than the feds. One, assuming the feds even wanted to get there. Two, this man lived in a neighborhood where allegedly the neighbors, it seems to be a Pakistani immigrant neighborhood, and I say that without judgment, just stating matters of fact, where the neighbors claim not to speak English. Now, if they don't want to speak to media, that's one heck of the best way to get out of speaking to media. If they do that to me and I don't want to talk to them, I can say, ben là, je parle pas anglais, je parle juste français. And they're going to come and say, Viva, on va te parler en français. And it's like, okay, well, shit, my jig is up. If you don't want to speak to media, that's one heck of a way of getting out of it. If you want to talk about immigration policy and how it can have an impact on radicalizing native-born Americans, that might be a discussion to be had. A neighborhood in Texas in which people don't speak English, don't speak French, don't speak Spanish, speak Urdu because it's a Pakistani immigrant neighborhood. I mean, you might have some questions about immigration policy after that, notwithstanding the fact that Jabbar was a native-born American. Okay. The media gets there before the feds get there. Okay. The feds, let me just bring it up. This is from Jack Posobiec. It's an old tweet. It's from yesterday. I don't know that it's been disproven yet. Hearing, this is from Jack Posobiec, who's got intelligence connections himself. He's got good sources, and he's a very, very reliable source of information. Doesn't bat 100, but he doesn't not bat 100 for a lack of due diligence. Hearing Jabbar was reported twice to his Army COC, Chief of Command. Hold on a second. COC, Army acronym. Combat Operations Center. Okay, sorry, not Chief of Command. For Islamic extremist views, and they were too scared of causing a racial and religious issue to address. Okay. Is that implausible? Not only is it not implausible, it's historically proven to be a phenomenon. DEI, you don't want to fire someone because they're DEI, and then doors start getting ripped off of Boeings mid-flight. I can make these jokes now because I landed. I don't know if we were on a Boeing, but it's a phenomenon, people. And if you had any doubts about it as relates to Pakistani rape gangs, you need to look no further than what happened in England over the course of decades that led to Tommy Robinson being locked up in jail in solitary confinement in a prison where he would be shivved to death if they released him into the general population. The whole thing about the so-called grooming gangs, and we shall use the appropriate term rape gangs, the whole thing about the rape gangs is that it was predominantly, if not exclusively, statistically exclusively, Pakistani Muslim men in England. And they didn't want to talk about it because it was a very unfortunate fact that could have social repercussions in terms of social backlash against specific groups of race, religion, immigrants, and could highlight certain nefarious consequences of batshit crazy immigration policy, which is no immigration policy at all, open borders. And so that was what happened in England. If you don't know, I welcome you to watch my interview with Tommy Robinson. There's 4 or 5 of them now. And to educate yourself. But I know everybody watching right now knows that. It was the result of rampant open borders and the rape of thousands, tens of thousands of young, predominantly, if not statistically exclusively, white European girls was done at the hands of Muslim Pakistani rape gangs. It sounds politically incorrect to say too fucking bad. That's what it was. And this is not an argument for propensity. It's not an argument for anything other than the facts of the issue. And had the facts of the issue come out, it might have caused some backlash, for right or for wrong. It might have caused some questioning of the government immigration policy, for right or for wrong. And so if you think that the idea that this doesn't happen is not true, not only does it happen, but it happens to the point where it costs people lives and it destroys communities. So the fact that this might have happened in this particular case, it's not only not unforeseeable, it's not only not unrealistic, it's entirely plausible. So you have a man, native-born Texan, who, according to his brother, converted to Islam, because they were born Christian, by the way. I mean, this is the latest news of the day as well. They were born Christian. The brother of Shamsuddin Jabbar said that his brother was Muslim as long as he knew. And again, this is not a sweeping statement whatsoever. Full stop. The brother says this, or the mosque comes out and says, it's terrible. This doesn't represent Muslims at large. And the reality is, it probably doesn't. The other reality is, if it represents a certain percentage, and you can put that number anywhere between 1% and 10%, you can do the numbers based on the statistics of the amount. And then you can also do those numbers based on the amount of open border, crossing a border without any form of verification whatsoever. You can also do it based on the numbers of people on terror watch lists who are crossing over the border, not from Mexico into the United States, but from Canada into the United States. Because Canada, much like the UK, has had something of an open border system, minimal verification, handing out student visas like they're cotton candy. And then you have tenfold terror watch list encounters coming from Canada to the US that you have from Mexico to the US. Set all that aside. The brother said he's been Muslim as long as I can know, chain of command. There's a number of COC acronyms. The brother of Shamsuddin Jabbar says he's been Muslim as long as I know. He doesn't reflect all Muslims, and he doesn't, obviously. In fact, he might reflect a very small minority. But a small percentage of 1.6 billion can be big problems when you don't have any form of checks and balances at a fucking border. Sorry. Now, he was born in America. True. Where was he radicalized? We'll find out. Was he on the FBI's watch list? We'll find out. The neighborhood in which he lived. What verification process was going on there? We'll find out. They're still too busy, the FBI, hounding, harassing, haranguing, and persecuting Jan 6 grannies who went into the Capitol in open doors. So that's that. And the FBI, holy sweet mother effer, what the hell are they doing? Let me bring this up here. I just have to go pull up articles because, like I said, earlier on, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I didn't say that earlier on. I do feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I follow the news obsessively, compulsively. I wait before I tweet things out. And if I make a mistake, you know damn well I correct myself. And I put more of an emphasis on correcting myself to compensate for the mistake in the first place. And I can think of some examples which we can get to afterwards. I wait. The FBI comes out, and I feel like I'm going crazy because I feel like I must have misheard what they said. Because the FBI came out and said, after this attack, it's not a terror attack. I'm like, you fucking idiots. Did you not see the ISIS flag? You did not see the ISIS flag. You can say maybe it was a false flag. I mean, maybe it was a literal false flag. Someone who wants to make it look like an ISIS attack, so they kill a bunch of people by ramming a car into them a week after the exact same thing was done by the Saudi atheist far-right Musk supporter in Germany, #sarcasm. Maybe it was a false flag to depict it as an ISIS attack. Maybe it was. But don't fucking tell me, FBI, that you didn't know that there was an ISIS flag on the ground, because I saw pictures of people taking pictures of that ISIS flag. So the FBI comes out and initially says it's not a terror attack. And once that information is out there, I then say, oh, you said it wasn't a terror attack, and then later on say it's a terror attack. Were you lying when you said it wasn't a terror attack? Like, were you lying when you knew that it was a terror attack and said it wasn't a terror attack because you were fearing backlash? You were fearing social repercussions. Were you lying when you said that there were other people who were caught on camera planting IEDs and that this guy, Jabbar, did not act alone? Were you lying then? Because I know you said it, even though you came out afterwards and said, no, we never said it. And then I think I'm going crazy. The FBI came out and said it wasn't a terror attack when we all suspected it was, but it doesn't matter. You don't know until you know. Then they come out and say it was a terror attack. But between them saying it wasn't a terror attack to it was a terror attack, they also said the guy was not acting alone. They had video surveillance of people planting IEDs throughout New Orleans, but they didn't go off. And there were people saying, God bless, like, thank God the IED improvised explosive devices that his accomplices were planting didn't go off. Then they come out and say, oh, no, we said it wasn't a terrorist attack. It is. We said he wasn't acting alone. He was. And like, I'm not crazy. Oh, look at this. Now I'm not crazy, but then I go to this. I know this website. Hold on. Which one is this here? Which one do I have? Oh, no, that's not the right thing. Hold on. It was from the Times of India, which is not a reliable website. Is this it? No. Yeah, this is it. Here we go. This is it. The Times of India. Close this. Now, I say they're not a reliable. I recall them putting out information that's less than reliable every now and again, but I don't have the examples fresh in my memory bank. FBI rules out involvement of 4 suspects seen planting bombs near New Orleans truck attack. I know the FBI said it because I saw it with my own 2 freaking eyes. Sorry, I think I spat there. I don't know if anybody saw that. But then I see it, and then they come out and say something which totally contradicts what they said 12 hours earlier. And I don't care if it's the fog of war and they got it wrong. I know they said it. The FBI has ruled out 4 initially suspected individuals. 4 individuals. Let me start that again. The FBI has ruled out 4 initially suspected individuals in assisting Shamsuddin Jabbarin. Why are they saying Jabbarin? In the New Orleans truck attack on New Year's Day that resulted in 50. What kind of passive fucking language is this? He killed 15 people. Investigators found IEDs at the scene and are exploring the potential terror group while indicating Jabbar may not have acted alone. They were. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has ruled out the involvement of 4 individuals initially suspected of assisting the Jabbar in the New Orleans attack on New Year's Day that killed 15 people. Surveillance footage had shown 3 men and 1 woman near the attack site planting explosives at multiple locations, prompting a nationwide alert. No, it wasn't, because they said he was acting alone and it wasn't terror. However, investigators have now excluded their connection to the attack. They've excluded their connection to the attack? Did 4 people plant bombs in New Orleans on New Year's Eve? The report also said that at least 3 IEDs, which were pipe bombs with remote detonators, were discovered. So, I really feel like I'm going crazy right now. Investigators continue to examine potential links to international terror. So let me understand this, FBI. Despite clearing these individuals, authorities still believe Jabbar may not have acted alone. Federal authorities suggested Jabbar, 22, was not solely responsible for the attack. We do believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those. FBI Assistant Special Agent Aletha Duncan. Aletha. I feel like I have a lisp when I say it. Aletha Duncan told, adding that investigators were looking into a range of suspects. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry also mentioned the authorities were hunting down bad. What the fuck? Okay, I'm not playing this is the incident. I'm not playing that. Jabbar's links to ISIS, and we can read the rest of that. Jabbar's background. Okay. So you understand, like, this is when people use the word gaslighting, 9 out of 10 times they use it improperly. This is fucking gaslighting. They tell you it wasn't a terror attack, then they tell you it was a terror attack. They tell you he wasn't acting alone, then they tell you he's acting alone, while simultaneously seeming to confirm that 3 or 4 other individuals were planting IEDs around New Orleans the same night of this, but don't worry, they're not connected. How fucking stupid do they think we are? I mean, it's preposterous. This is the definition of gaslighting, making you feel like you're going crazy by listening to them tell you things that are true, that are not true, that you don't know if they're true, lying to you, then telling you they were lying to you, then telling you they needed to lie to you to save your life, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, don't wear masks. Yeah, oh no, when we told you not to wear masks, it's only because we were lying to you, because we didn't want everybody making a run on the masks because we actually needed them. Now when we tell you that you need them, you better listen to us. We're not lying to you now. Not a terror attack. Go out about your business, people. When they knew it was a terror attack? Oh, they're suspects. We don't cause mass panic. No, those random people planting IEDs the same night as a terror attack, totally unrelated. Trust us. Trust us, we're lying. There was something else that I was going to say. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jabbar's Airbnb burst into flames at 5:15 in the morning, 2 hours after he was already shot dead by police. Hold on. Let me get it because I tweeted it and I had the receipts. I just want to make sure. Here we go. Is that it? No, hold on. Where's my tweet? Yep. No. I tweeted. We're all in this together. We're going to get to that one in a bit. Okay, what's my problem here? I tweeted it out. It was earlier than that. Okay, holy hell. Well, here, this is one set of receipts, just because I want to make sure for the purposes of posterity that we view these together. Here. FBI, after having initially asserted the New Orleans attack was not a terrorist attack, is now saying it was a terrorist attack, but from a lone wolf, after having said that there were other accomplices at the same time. It is being reported that the suspect in the Las Vegas Cybertruck bombing served at the same military base as the New Orleans suspect and rented a vehicle from the same app as the New Orleans suspect. When the general population thinks the FBI, all the FBI does is persecute patriots and lie to cover their asses, it's not a good situation. Screenshot 1 Fox News. FBI stresses Bourbon Street bloodbath was an evil act of terror, confirms maniac was lone wolf. They can't confirm something that they don't know. So this is a lie. Understand this. This is a lie not because they're wrong, but because they cannot possibly assert that right now. They cannot confirm that which they don't have the basis to know. So, they confirmed the maniac was a lone wolf? I'm sorry. We're 24 hours into this, 36 hours in. You can't confirm that. And so if you purport to confirm that, I know you're lying. You might be right, but what you're saying is something for which you do not have the basis to say it as a matter of fact. The moon is made of Swiss cheese. I don't know. I've never been there. I can't grab you a handful of cheese from the moon. I know it's a lie because I have no basis upon which to say the moon is made of Swiss cheese. Oh, they confirm he was a lone wolf. You don't know that. And not only do you not know that, it contradicts what you said 12 hours ago. So you're lying, FBI. Here, this is the resume of the Vegas guy. I don't know. I mean, I presume it's accurate when they say he served the same Fort Bragg base. And then they confirm that multiple law enforcement sources told ABC News that the Cybertruck that exploded in Las Vegas was rented on Turo. The same app sources said was rented the pickup truck. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that particular website. But yeah, no, just a bunch of just random coincidence, people. But hold on, that wasn't the right one. Here, this is the other one for which I have the receipts. Holy hell. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The suspect's Airbnb burst into fire. It caught fire. I shouldn't oversell it. Some people said it burnt down. And I can't even pretend. So one of them, someone tweeted in reply to my tweet, if it was a lone wolf, who burnt down his Airbnb? I was like, oh, I hadn't heard that his Airbnb burnt down. But I did hear that there was a fire. And I said, this is indeed a good question. If he acted alone, how did a fire break out at his Airbnb 2 hours after he was killed by police? And this is from, I want to say Fox, whatever. You can see who it is here. WVUE. Federal, state, and local law enforcement agents are following leads that tie an Airbnb rent to the suspect involved in the Bourbon Street massacre. Law enforcement was seen along the 1300 block of Mandeville Street in Marigny neighborhood after a small fire broke out around 5:30 a.m. in the suspected Airbnb property. I mean, like, I'm no mathematician. Math was one of my weaker subjects in school. But I can add international time. The suspect, who's now dead, who was killed after getting out of the vehicle, which struck people at 3:15 in the morning, had been dead for 2 hours. Fire at his Airbnb. Maybe it's a different Airbnb. Maybe, as people are hypothesizing, got a steel magnet. Maybe he set off improvised devices to count down timer, start fire to his condo or his Airbnb. If I could tell you the things that don't make effing sense in all of this, like, first of all, if your plan is to go and drive over a bunch of people, you probably want to start a fire on your condo before you leave and draw whatever resources to that place so that they're putting out the fire while you're literally committing an act of terrorism. The fire starts 2 hours later? Do they think we're stupid? So that's it. They think we're stupid. They lie to us left, right, and center. They don't do their jobs. They then say, oh, yeah, the person was on our radar, but we were too busy locking up Granny, too busy locking up Jake Lang, too busy going after lectern guy Adam Johnson, too busy persecuting Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon. What else has the FBI been up to these days? Oh, yeah, that's right. Too busy setting up Donald Trump. They go armed raids at Mar-a-Lago, falsifying, setting up evidence so that they can leak it to the media. That's what the FBI is doing. Falsifying evidence. That's what they did in 2016. They did it again in 2023, 2024. Persecuting Jan 6ers. By the way, from what I understood, the FBI field office in New Orleans was still busy prosecuting Jan 6ers. While this man, who apparently had radical extremist Islamic ties, was apparently referred to, what was it, the COC again? I forget what the COC stood for. And then they sit there and literally lie through their teeth in the wake of a terror attack to cover their ass, to cover their involvement, to cover their knowledge, to cover their incompetence. Who the hell knows at this point in time? But when you can't trust the FBI as far as you can throw them, and when you think that their goal is political persecution of political adversaries and not protection of the people, that's supposed to be their purpose, we got a big problem. End rant. Let me go here and get some. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, shoot balls. Oh, there are a number of super chats over on CommieTube, which I'm going to get to because otherwise they disappear. $9.99 from Benjamin Hamilton. Why would the dude blow himself up with a remote control? Someone else pressed the button. And I don't know if you mean the guy in the Tesla truck, I would have great difficulty presuming or believing that anybody with a 6-month-old baby would drive themselves to do something like that. CB, how can the apps get built if we don't have the rape gangs? Viva, I need my notes and AI. Oh no, that's right, because they talk about locking up people who complain about the rape gangs and not the rape gangs. There's a couple of arrests coming out of the UK that, once Elon puts it on blast, but it's news to Elon to some extent. It's not news to anybody who's been following Tommy Robinson for the last 8 years. Yeah, so they take their own failings and then they turn it into your loss of rights. Why? Because government is the only industry in the world where you fail upwards, and when they screw up more, they give themselves more power. Oh, gotta protect the citizens from our own incompetence. Forced name change says, wow, Viva, you must be peeved. More F-bombs in the first hour than the first year of your live show. Could you mix in the occasional tabarnak, crise de marde? Ben oui, je peux ajouter une certaine tabarnak. In French Canadian, tabarnak is the F word. I've said it a bunch of times, but in French Canadian, all of the swear words are religious-based or religion-based. So tabarnak, which is the F word, is the tabernacles. Colis is the collis or the wafer. Chris is Chris. Chris de marde. Chris de marde. Tabarnak. Maudit, which is also the name of a beer, means cursed or damned. In French from France, chalk it up to whatever you want. All of the swear words are sex-based. Putain is a prostitute. Salope is a prostitute. Putain, salope. And pute, which is also a prostitute. I would say so all of the French from France swear words sex-based. All of the French from Quebec swear words religion-based. That's your cult. If you're new to the channel, that will be new to you, and if you're not, you've heard me say that a couple of times. What do we got? Corn Pop is in the house with the $1.99. I don't know if you know what I'm looking at there. It's an avatar Corn Pop. Thank you. Okay, now I think I've gotten to everything. Events like this are going to lead people to get on their knees and beg for big tech for them to use AI for Minority Report style pre-crimes technology. Think social credit on steroids. That's from Sovereign Frisch. And you're 1,000% right. And forced name change. So I think I've got everything over on CommieTube. Now let me get everything over on Free Speech Rumble. And I didn't talk about it yet. I mean, because it happened over the holidays. If you had invested in Rumble, people, holy crab apples. Cheryl Gage in the house watched the video from the truck driving into the crowd. It could have been so much worse. I saw one of the videos. I don't want to watch those things. Excuse me. The one I saw, which was right when it happened, 2 of the 3 people survived. It could not have been closer. One of them might have had a broken ankle, but it could not have been closer. It's just, oh, that's the whole thing that I was going to get into. My goodness, thank you, Cheryl, for reminding me. How did it happen? So, Libs of TikTok, she's gotten things wrong, so I have to make sure with Libs. There's no shade, but sometimes people are hasty and they promote as fact what turns out to be wrong, and then there's a little bit more verification that goes into it. Libs of TikTok, I think she got the one that I remember her getting wrong, and this is absolutely no shade, is the that car exploding at the border of Canada where some people were saying it was a terrorist attack. I think Libs of TikTok got. I know Laura Loomer did because that one I remembered. It stuck with me. But I think she might have, been hasty to that one as well. She put out a tweet saying, the New Orleans thing had that, not the ballisters, the bollards, the freaking pipes, the cement pipes, not the cement, the steel pipes, the iron pipes, to prevent pedestrian traffic. She said there might have been one that could lift like that, like this, so that you go and plow under it. And I'm not sure if that's true. She said it could have been lifted as of whatever time, and it wasn't. I'm not sure if that's true. What I do know, because I pulled up the receipts myself and I trust my own eyes, but not always, is that they did have the bollards. Someone's going to tell me if that's the right word. They had the balusters. No, I see bollards and balusters. They had them, but they took them down to replace them and upgrade them. And they took them down during the Sugar Bowl, New Year's, and the upcoming Super Bowl. And they didn't put up anything temporary after they took down the bollards, which is gross tabarnak negligence. C'est de la négligence en tabarnak. And this is going to maybe, the gratuitous use of the tabarnak might piss off some of the French Canadians, but it's the New Year's. That's where I ended in with a little T-bombs. It's negligence. It's arguably criminal negligence. Now, that being said, I've got damn good sources. I'm not referring. For example, I had gotten a DM even before the news reported it saying there were bollards there, whatever the hell they want to call them, and they weren't up. And I had someone there the day before or the morning before saying the bollards aren't up. This is really weird, man. Taking a picture, and then the terror attack occurred, and then that picture became prophetic. Someone else DM'd me and said New Orleans is a that Bourbon Street is a very unique situation. Now hold on, let me just get this one as far as the information goes. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to read from my info here. Person just watched my video, the vlog that I put out earlier today. Check it out. Bourbon Street has a unique problem. The street is known for its tourist people coming in from all over the world, yada yada. An unusual amount of trash covers the street every night. So the trash has to be cleaned every morning to let the traffic back on the street. Public events, this trash increases greatly. Okay, so, they're saying how they measure the success of certain events based on the amount of trash that's left over. So attaching the bollards, that is the word bollard, to the street and being able to do the unattached. Oh, so there's medical emergencies as well. So if you have bollards that can't come out, you have a medical emergency. The bottom line is that it was actually complicated because when the bollards go down, they get filled with trash. And so the fact that there's so much trash on Bourbon Street actually sort of complicated the facilitating of the installation, removal, raising, lowering of the bollards, because it's true. You're on Bourbon Street. You want to restrict vehicular traffic, but not an ambulance. Okay. And apparently this guy, Jabbar, who drove his truck, drove it around whatever temporary prevention they had. So look, maybe it's not as easy as saying, well, you had bollards up, leave them. The bottom fucking line is you keep up the bollards while you are upgrading the system. And you don't leave it vulnerable at Sugar Bowl. I don't know what that is, but I know that it's a thing in sports. You don't leave it vulnerable at New Year's Eve. You don't leave it vulnerable over the busiest tourist season of the year, period. So it's an interesting thing, the dynamic of Bourbon Street. It's got a lot of garbage, and it's a difficult thing to take care of. It's grotesque negligence, to say the least. Whether or not this individual, Jabbar, had any advanced knowledge of this, whether or not he was, he knew. Who knows? But I'm glad I didn't forget that. So that was the interesting source as to, it's not as cut and dry in terms of the ability to put up bollards. It's not like Times Square. I guess they don't have enough garbage there, or they don't really need. But I don't believe it anyhow. How long? Actually, hold on. Not that I don't believe it. The excuse, which I'm sure the state will make. How long is Bourbon Street? What is it? New Orleans. What is it, like a kilometer long? Yeah, here it says it's 0.7 miles. So it's not long. If the issue is emergency access, there's other ways to do it. You need to get fire trucks down there if there's a fire truck. Okay, I mean, I can understand it. I don't care. It's grotesque incompetence. It's grotesque negligence, and I think the people who are saying, yeah, this is to terrorize people into fear so that they will submit to technological surveillance the same way they did during COVID. The only way they got people to submit to technological surveillance for medical decisions was to whip them up into an absolute state of terror. And you get people whipped up into a state of terror and they make bad decisions. They will sacrifice freedom for the semblance of security, even though they're sacrificing freedom for no security at all. That's how you do it. The death tracker during COVID was not an accident. It was to terrorize people into relinquishing their God-given civil rights for the purposes of technological surveillance and tyranny. And it worked. And I do not blame anybody, and I actually kind of subscribe to the belief. This is deliberate incompetence, deliberate negligence to terrorize people into thinking they need to willingly sacrifice their God-given rights for technological surveillance for their own protection. There's a super chat on ComicTube. RC Lamoureux, $10 Canadian, says, no one is safe until the Clinton terrorist mafia is arrested. This is all Hillary Clinton planning. Tabarnak, says RC Lamoureux, and the tabarnak was his. So do not get mad at me for that. Events like this are going to lead people to beg for big tech censorship. That was from Sovereign_Fish. And now let's get back to VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com. tipped questions, which I'm going to see here. Odin of the North is in the house here. Let me see this. Can I bring these up here? Forced name change. Forced name change says, I'm a metaphysical anomaly who says you can't be in two places at once. What an incredible era to be alive in. Says forced name change. We got Lucy the dog in the house. Lucy, I have not seen you in a long time, but I remember that name. The removing of barriers in New Orleans, like a duplicate of the removals of the barriers that happened in Jan 5th when the barriers were removed. See Jan 6th report. Oh, good point. Good point for DC. Then we got voice sounds decent off mute equals last stream I said you sound better on mute. I love your content. Thanks for everything. Odin of the North. Okay, now I get the joke. And then we got Cheryl Gagey, who I think I read this one already, or Gage. Watch the video of the truck driving into the crowd, okay? We got Paracleric in the house in our locals community. No one would replace security ballards and not have backups deployed. That in mind, can the company or city doing the work be sued by the family? They can be sued. I mean, what are they? Sovereign immunity or state immunity? I feel like I'm drinking tea. Happy tea. Where was I? Paracleric. Then we got Gray 101 from our locals community. What are the odds states lock down for a new pandemic after January 2025? Well, we see what's coming out of China. It's more of the same. It's the same tabarnak. It's the same putain de playbook tabarnak. It's a swear fest, people. It's the same bloody playbook. Alex Jones said it. They have one play. They use it over and over again. Mutatis mutandis. No one's going to fall for it. And my goodness, if there's a place to be when that happens, I think Florida is the place. What are the odds of lockdown? Okay, we got Odin of the North in the house over here. It says, Silly Sally swiftly shooed 7 silly sheep. The 7 silly sheep, Silly Sally, silly shooed, Shilly Sally showed. The 7 silly sheep, Silly Sally shooed, Silly Shallied south. These sheep shouldn't sleep in a shack. Sheep should sleep in a shed. It's not bad. I think I did good there. Is, in your estimation, from Gray 101, how serious is President-elect Trump about ending the federal income tax? You start with the discussion, and then it leads to policy. The discussion about Trump, the discussion about Canada becoming the 51st state is just a discussion intended to soften up the debate on tariffs. So, abolishing federal income tax, maybe not. Reducing it and finding alternative means, possibly. So I like it. It's a way to look. When I knew that we were going to have to move to Florida, I softened up the discussion. I made some jokes, Oh yeah, next year there's an old thing like next year in Jerusalem, and I was like, oh, next year in Florida, yeah. And then the joke becomes a reasonable possibility, and then it becomes reality to some extent. So I think the ending federal income tax, I don't think it's going to happen. Figuring out a way to reduce and find alternatives is going to happen. Making Canada the 51st state, you don't want it, America, period. But it's a way to soften up discussions on tariffs, which is going to happen regardless. Gray 101 says, how will congressmen and media blame the attacks on President-elect Trump? Okay, we got that one. Now, all that to say, people, that was going to be it for now. The schedule is going to get back to schedule Tuesday of next week because kids are off school until Monday, except the homeschool. He's never off school because he's always on school because we're homeschooling. But next Tuesday, I get back to 12:30 during the day. I'll probably be back at 12:30 on Monday. Tomorrow, there will be no 12:30 show, but there will be a show. There will be an episode of As the World Turns into Insanity, people. We're going to do something tomorrow. It'll be later on in the afternoon, and maybe there'll be a guest. I wouldn't mind having Pisco back on. I'm gonna reach out to him. I said he reached out to me. Pisco Liddy, who I had on a while back, a lefty, but I like lefties who talk, who are not unhinged idiots. You might think Pisco Liddy is unhinged. I don't think he is. There are others who I'd rather not discuss with. We'll see. But there will be a show tomorrow. But I'm doing the first of my episodes of the Unusual Suspects of the New Year tomorrow. So that's what's going to be occupying me during my otherwise streaming hour. Sunday night show is on, people. So we're back to that schedule. And I should say that. Holy crab apples! I say that, but I forgot the entire reason for which I'm giving the schedule. Monday is January 6th. Let me just make sure that I'm right about the days of the week here. Yes, Monday is January 6th. I will be, unless I can't get a flight out and drive out, I will be there in person, people. You see this right here? This is on in DC on January 6th, and I'm going to be there. And if you're listening on podcast, it says official January 6th pardon press conference. No man left behind. Register free ticket online, j6pardonpanel.com. You got Blessed News Network. You got Gateway Pundit. Time, Monday, January 6th, 2025, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm going to be there in person. And one of the, do they call them keynote speakers? I have no idea what that word even means. But this is a tweet from Jake Lang saying, breaking, dozens of January 6 patriots are being denied by their parole officers from attending the official January 6 pardon press conference in DC on Monday, January 6, 2025. Only 18 days away. I guess this was an older tweet. When is this tweet from? No, this is from today. Oh, only 18 days away from everyone getting, I'm an idiot. I should probably read the end of the sentence. Only 18 days away from everyone getting pardoned, and these soul-sucking probation officers are acting like petty tyrants. I don't know why you would capitalize that, but I would give it a lowercase p and lowercase t. Trying to prevent our voices from reaching the American people on the 4th anniversary of Patriots Day, January 6th. Remember the scene from The Wolf of Wall Street when Leo says, I'm not leaving. We're not leaving. In fact, we've added some amazing new keynote speakers to our 30-plus conservative juggernaut lineup. Jim Hoft, Mike Lindell, Lara Logan, Patrick Byrne, Ivan Raiklin, Viva Fry, Isabel DeLuca, and Anne Vardenstiel, Behesni, I don't know everybody here, Matt Wallace, Real Wayne Bob. There's a bunch. So we're going to be there. I may or may not be frolicking with the lectern guy later on in the day in DC. I may or may not be on with Tim Pool and the lectern guy Monday night. That's what's happening Monday. So I think I should be able to get there in time to do the Sunday night show in time. There might be a little bit of a delay. We'll see. Okay. Saturday night, I'm going to be at Mar-a-Lago, people. I'm going to be doing a panel on lawfare at Eastman's debut documentary of lawfare. I forget who exactly is going to be there that I can confirm. It's going to be amazing. Let me see here. Go back to my notes. Nope, that's not it. The heck? Oh, here we go. Confirmed. Let me see who I can confirm. I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's an event at Mar-a-Lago. Saturday night, and then I'll be back in DC for the Rumble event on the inauguration. So we're gonna be back to a schedule, but maybe not Monday. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm an idiot. I forgot what I got to do. All right, that's it, people. Let me go back here and get some of these. Kimmy Hunt in the house. The speaker fight happens tomorrow in Congress on a Saturday? No, because tomorrow's not Saturday. Tomorrow's a Friday. Well, she at? Okay, we're gonna be paying attention to that. Kimmy, nice to see you again. Sammy over in our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Viva, you are very fortunate in Florida. DeSantis is taking terror threat warning seriously. He said the Fed hasn't relayed any threat warnings, even though there have been non-governmental verified intel. I like DeSantis. I've always liked DeSantis. It's not an accident that we're here. It's just that for reasons that we all know, that I've made very clear, it had to be Trump this time. What do we got here? We got Pasha Moyer in the house with a picture, which I can't bring up. The picture is I might have to bring up that picture. It's a dog looking like he's going to eat a cake. And it says, need to get rid of a crime family. Send in .zilla. I presume that's your dog. Let me go back here. We got forced name change. Okay, no, we got that one already. Okay, we're going to do a very quick after party on locals because I got to eat dinner. And want to thank everybody for being here. Happy New Year. Health and happiness. I used to say health, wealth, and happiness, but wealth is nothing without health. And happiness is nothing without health. And happiness is intrinsically intertwined with health. And the wealth is actually the least important to the point where it's just health and happiness in 2025. The year of vindication, the year of retribution, and the year of justice. That's what it should be. That's what it must be. That's what we will make sure that it is. There are still 18 days left before Trump takes office. We will pray, hope, and act. And that is it. Make sure I haven't missed anything over on the CommyTube. Make sure you like, make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, etc., etc. We got Isabelle Morin. Salut, viva frère, bonne année 2025 de Montréal, Côte de Neige. Isabelle, my sister took my kids to a movie on Côte de Neige, and I did not go because I do not like movies in movie theaters. And Côte de Neige, it depends where you are. It can be a sketchy neighborhood as far as Montreal goes. Let me see here. We got Tiffanal. Viva is a Canadian conservative, not a constitutional conservative. Is that an insult? That sounds like an insult, Tiffanal. Before I take it as an insult, I'll presume you meant it in a good way. What the hell do you mean by that? I'm not even a Canadian conservative. I consider myself to be a constitutionalist, period. Hold on. Tiffanal, I don't want to overreact. And I'm not overreacting. I just want to know, did you mean that as an insult? You don't need to super chat the answer. Just tell me, did you mean that as an insult or did you mean that as a compliment? And that's it. But bottom line, I don't even consider myself conservative. I have plenty of views that are not conservative. I consider myself to be a constitutionalist. Okay. Yes, she says, because you believe in attacking the bollards. Never blame the gun. You blame the bollards. Tiffany, I can't understand now if you're being sarcastic. Hold on. Okay, I want to bring this up. Tiffany, we're going to have a small conversation because I hope you take it in tongue in cheek the way I take it. Tiffany says right here, yes, because you believe in attacking the bollards. Never blame the gun. You blame the bollards. I don't know if you're joking here because what I'm actually blaming is incompetent government that facilitates or enables the evil of people who are bent on doing evil. Whether you like it or not, people are bent on doing evil. And if your government can't protect you from it because they're a fucking bunch of incompetent nincompoops who, after the catastrophic results of their own incompetence, want to take away your rights, you're damn right. I'm not blaming the bollards. I'm blaming the idiots who didn't put the bollards up. Ben Hamilton says, no shilly-shally and no dilly-dally, and let's have a drink of it now. I don't know what that means, but cheers. Okay, so what we are going to do, and by the way, Tiffanal, I'm not sensitive, even if you meant it as an insult. An attacker attack, it's not the gun. Never blame the government. Never blame more government for a bad person. Socialism believes government can protect you from all evil. Okay, we spent enough time on that. It was a fun discussion. Okay, we're going to locals. Let me give everybody the link. If you are inclined to, you can become a supporter in our locals community. If you are not inclined, that's fine. Everyone who is a local supporter has gotten a sneak peek. They've not gotten a CP. They've gotten the PDF version of my children's story called Louis the Lobster. It will be in hard format soon, on sale, on self-published, wherever. But everyone who is a supporter in locals, $10 a month, $100 a year, got the PDF of the story. And it's damn good, if I dare say so myself. I got to thank my wife. She put it all together. But I've had that book in my email for 15 years because I wrote it about 14 years ago. And we put it out there. But if you don't want to support us on locals, there's no need. Just share the stuff. Everything is, we 90% is available across all platforms. And a very small amount is to actually, thank our supporters who allow us to be independent, not beholden to pharma, and not fearful of cancellation. If you want to support us, vivabarneslaw.locals.com is the best way. If you don't have the means or don't want to spend them, forget it. Just subscribe, share, turn on notifications. Snip, clip, share, drop a comment. You know what to do. You want to get some merch, go to Viva Fry. I have my Alex Jones. Hold on. I have an Alex Jones affiliate link. Because I'm realistic. Alex Jones's merch is better than mine. Alex Jones. Did I get an affiliate link here? Whatever. Doesn't matter. You know how to support. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Let's go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the rest of this party. A short one. Then I'm going to go eat dinner, go to bed, wake up tomorrow. Unusual Suspects. Live stream. Then Saturday, then Sunday, off to DC. Sunday night show. Then Monday, gallivanting around DC after being the keynote speaker, whatever that means, at the Pardon the Jan Sixers. Then I think I'm going to be on Tim Pool with Lecter Guy Monday night. Then back, and then back to a schedule. People, happy freaking New Year. Diligence, what is it? The price of freedom is eternal diligence. If you're coming over to Locals, come. And if you're not, I will see you tomorrow, peeps. Peace out. Locals here. And now we are going to Locals. Godspeed. God bless. Happy New Year.